It would have been better to have you in here as leader of the Liberal Democrats. What went wrong?
Welcome back, 40 activists, and we have just hit the halfway point of our generosity challenge, so stick with it.
Looking back at all those questions, which started off 2 years ago when Cathy Newman challenged you on Channel 4, you did sort of come out with differing statements. Looking back, do you have any regrets?
Well, it's tricky, really. I think, first of all, yes, I'm sure the things I could have handled more wisely. In the end, the difficulty you've got all this is if you're a Christian, you've got a very clear idea about what sin is.
I'm Rosie Wright, and join us this week on Premier Christian Radio as we bring you some stories of people who live here. This is the Kiriandongo refugee settlement. Over 50,000 people have fled neighbouring South Sudan and sought refuge here.
We fall back into this thing. We fall back into
Can I hear
pushing.
what you think?
Yeah.
Rather than the debate yesterday, we might have watched the debate. What do you think? Do you think immigration has been undoubtedly a focal point?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a focal point.
I think we're undeniably living in an increasingly secular society. Do you think that means the face of Christianity is changing in the UK?
Well, the face of Christianity is definitely changing.
It's a challenge, and therefore some of the acts are going to seem challenging. Some of you might have found things a piece of cake, whereas for other people, they might actually have even felt uncomfortable. But it's that generosity that's been really inspiring, so keep at it.
Looking back at that campaign, you were consistently almost slightly evasive in being very vocal about what you thought. And then you came out and you said, no, I don't think gay sex is a sin. Why did you change that? Did you feel under pressure?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm going to write about this a little bit more in the coming weeks, but the bottom line is, yes, of course I did. And there are things that including that I said that I regret.
What concrete things are you basing your decision to say the UK should stay in the European
So the
Union?
concrete thing I'm basing my decision to stay on is that I believe that we're better together.
You can see this fairly orderly queue behind me as children are queuing up for what some of them will be their main meal and only meal of the day.
Here we go. Okay. Exclusive inspirational breakfast exclusive. John rapping about traffic. Now, who doesn't love a cake or two, particularly with a cup of coffee? Well, this week we all got stuck in baking for this week's act, Bake Off. And one youth group, Urban Saints, made loads of baked goodies. So what about mental, spiritual health? How do you not end up torturing yourself? Did you ever feel self-pity? Were you ever angry with yourself for the decision you made?
Initially, I was angry. I was angry with myself for taking such a risk.
I've heard you sometimes use ironing as a time to pray.
Yeah, that goes right back to the days when I was a parish priest, where there was a big need to pray.
And it's not over. We've got one more day to go, guys. And make sure you watch out for our finale video coming out on Sunday. It's quite sobering to think, I'm going to go home and leave all this behind. But for those women looking after 8 or 9 children, that's everyday life. And if we wind back to Saturday's act was Spur On, and we were totally bowled over by what you've been doing. It's lunchtime at Cameron Primary School. 4,800 children currently right now letting off steam. They've just had their lunch. And the main thing that struck me is these are just happy, healthy children.
What are some of the most dramatic things that have happened in your ministry?
And we always sing the hymns, the great sort of Easter hymns. We sang 4 or 5. And I said, well, does anyone have any requests? Because often people like to sing a favourite hymn. And a lady put her hand up. And I said, what would you like? And she said, YMCA.
Right, you've both got one final minute. This is it. No interrupting, I'm going to have to say. We're going to start with you, Steve. Sum up why you've decided, as for Christians specifically, they should be voting to stay in the EU.
Enough from me, particularly on this hammock. But see you next week. Bye.